Okay, we'll just go ahead and introduce ourselves. Hi, everyone. My name is Ramos. I am an associate client executive here in Marsh McClellan Companies. Marsh is an insurance brokerage firm based in Los Angeles. And if you've ever heard of an insurance broker, essentially what we do is assist clients to obtain an insurance policy, which some of you may be doing in the near future as you begin to drive a car. So you'll essentially go to an insurance broker and ask them to provide you a quote for a policy. And essentially that's what we do for commercial businesses. I have been at Marsh for a little over 3 years now. And I came right out of college and I did an internship with Marsh. So yeah, I'll go ahead and turn it over to May to introduce herself.
Sure. My name is May Ho. I'm a senior consultant with the Oliver Wyman Group. Oliver Wyman Group is a management consulting firm. Specifically, I specialize in actuarial functions and providing actuarial expertise to our clients. Most of our clients are seeking, input on their financial statements, as well as input on risk management. So as an actuary, I can help them, I can provide that for them. I guess I've been with Oliver Wyman Group for maybe 6 or 7 years now, but I did go to a personal lines carrier in between that. So just started out of college as well.
Right. So what we're going to do now is walk through some prompts that would probably give you and shed some light on either choosing a career, building a career, or landing a job, because both May and I were probably in the same position as you were, sitting in class, going in, whether you'd be in elementary or high school, and getting ready to take on the big world. So I know that some of you may have questions on how to appropriately choose a career, what you want to do with your life, if you have certain dreams that you want to aspire to, colleges, applications, all those things I'm sure you guys are thinking about. So, we'll go through some questions here, and hopefully it sheds some light and assist on your decision making. So I'll go first.
Yep. So Israel, what did you want to be when you were in middle school or high school? And how does that connect to where you are today?
Well, I don't think it necessarily connected. I actually wanted to be an astronaut when I was a little kid. Seeing all these movies, especially from one end of the spectrum of Star Trek to actual movies that seem relatable. The space shuttle journeys. I wanted to be a pilot, but going into the military wasn't something I necessarily wanted to do. I continued to go to school, and during my weekends, I actually started working with my dad. He's a contractor doing construction out here in the city of Orange. And surprisingly enough, now working as an insurance broker, I actually get to work with clients that are, buying insurance to make these construction projects. So in a way, it is full circle. Not something that I necessarily was planning to do. But yeah, that was kind of like the journey.
Great. What education, training, or certifications have you acquired, and how do you use them in your everyday work?
Yeah, so there's various certifications, and I'm sure, May, you probably have those too. For an insurance broker, the ones that I carry right now one is called the ARM. It's the Associate in Risk Management. And essentially it's 3 exams that you need to pass, and they all touch base on, certain guidelines about being an associate in risk management, giving expertise to your clients, whether how to purchase an insurance policy, certain legal guidelines that we need to follow as insurance brokers in order to meet certain regulations in the state of California. And I am an insurance broker licensed in the state of California. So if for whatever reason I wanted to go and do, insurance broker in the state, I would probably have to take certain exams in that state as well. And I also have a CRIS, which is the Construction Risk Management Insurance Specialist. And that is a specialty regarding construction accounts.
So how many different types of jobs did you have, and did all of them relate to your current position?
Yeah, so I had one previous job before coming into Marsh, before I even did the internship here. I actually ran my own business while I was in college, and I started it my sophomore year. and essentially it was a online auto registration service, which some of you might be doing in a couple of years as far as getting your license and getting registration, and it's pretty much a fee that you need to pay to hold your registration and your license every year. So, you know, I think it didn't necessarily tie into the technical aspect of insurance brokering, but the one thing that I will say is that it helped me communicate better with individuals, with business owners, because I did have to be going and selling our business door to door at times. And I think those communication skills and those sales skills definitely transferred into my current position.
Great. What advice would you give to your younger self if you could choose your career path all over again?
I would definitely say to, you know, take it easy. I know that and have patience with oneself. I know that sometimes being in the position that I was in when I was, you know, in high school, a lot of questions came to me about whether I wanted to do with life. And I didn't have a good direction, especially because I'm a first generation college student. Both of my parents immigrated from Mexico here. So I didn't have much direction as a sense of like corporate jobs or anything like that. So I know it was really me trying to guide myself and leaning on some counselors at school. So I think I would be to take patience, but definitely don't be afraid to reach out to get some help, because I know sometimes the world is scary out there. So I think that if there's any resources that you guys have in high school or, you know, once you start getting into college, there's always counselors there and groups and clubs. Try to join them as much as possible. Because that's the only really way you're going to figure things out.
Yeah, to add to that, you know, these kids who are probably watching this video from JA. JA would be a great resource.
Exactly,
So
exactly. You know, associating yourself with these type of groups is going to open up doors, opportunities. You're going to get to meet people that have the same interests as you do. And you're only really going to do that once you start opening those doors for yourself and taking that first step. So, and I know it's scary sometimes because I know it's getting out of your comfort zone, but there's great people out there like the folks at JA that make it pretty much seamless for you to get those connections.
Yep. And the last question, second to last question. What did you learn from your first job, positive or negative, or maybe both?
I'll share one positive and one negative one. Yeah, positive was definitely, you know, like I said, the communication skills and being able to speak the same business language at times, and that's transferred over here to Marsh. The negative, which is in a way is a positive, it's definitely being challenged how to overcome certain situations. You know, running into the situations definitely prepared me to tackle on the challenging things in the corporate world. And I know that sometimes one would think that it would be easier to just kind of, you know, go through life without any challenges, but I think that's what makes it interesting. And it definitely puts some tenacity on you to continue to go. So.
And the last question is, what was your first job in the field that you work in today? If not, why did you change that field? I guess I feel like maybe you've answered this.
No, actually, that's a good question, because when I started out, so I was part of a rotational program at Marsh. So the first time I started out was actually as their advising role in their international department. And essentially it was being a broker for various types of clients and across the United States. And it was a great learning experience, but I think I wanted to be a little bit more in client management and being a little bit closer to the clients. So in my transition, I went to global risk management, which is essentially that department that I just described earlier. And that was what I feel was a little bit more to my communication skills, the people skills that I gained in, when I owned my own business. So I think that wasn't necessarily where I wanted to start out, but the company gave me an opportunity to switch into something that I wanted. So.
Great.
Okay.
I guess I never explained what an actuary does, but to make it a little relatable for maybe some students who haven't heard of an actuary before, an actuary, like for example, Apple sells a lot of phone products. They have warranties with those phone products. So they need to kind of estimate how much money to hold so that they can be able to replace those phones if those phones break. As an actuary, I might come in and help tell them how much money that they should hold given the cost of this iPhone and the likelihood of the iPhone breaking. So that's kind of called reserving in terms of like the actuarial field. Also, on the other hand, a lot of actuaries do things such as pricing. So you might know, like, you know, when you buy a auto insurance policy or home policy, there's a price associated with those policies. If you go back to the Apple example, it could be that Apple are thinking about how to structure the warranty that is associated with a phone, and they might go to an actuary to get that price from the actuary. So that's an actuary's expertise.
Great.
Okay, and now we can move into the landing a job.
Okay. So, May, what tips do you have about successful job hunting? What unsuccessful job hunting experiences have you learned from?
I think I did job hunt in between my career here at Oliver Wyman. So during that time when I was job hunting, you know, I want to say I was looking for maybe a year. So it definitely wears on you, but you just have to always keep applying, keep like picking yourself up. If you get rejections, which I did at times. So just never give up, I guess is what I would say. Like keep at it, and you know, you'll find the right fit for you and the company.
Mm-hmm. Great. Do you have any guidance on writing a resume, filling out a job application, or other job hunting skills?
I think what has always helped me is practice, like, you know, practice during interviews, you know, figuring out how to write out a resume. When you're starting out and, you know, like Israel, I didn't have, or I'm also a first generation college graduate. So a lot of my family didn't go to college either. So when I was in college, I would go out to, you know, career resources or look to my teachers for guidance on, you know, how should I write this resume? What kind of things are companies looking for? So just really finding that guidance helped me out a lot. When you're interviewing, I think, yeah, practice helps a lot. And there's times when I went to like internship interviews and I didn't practice, and I didn't do things such as like a simple search of Googling like what questions might they ask, like entry level intern or entry level like first new hire. You can easily look up all those questions and just be like a little bit prepared for that. I think that one like example sticks out in my mind of, I think it was like they asked me a question and I was just like quiet for like 20 seconds or something, trying to think of like an answer for it, and it just really threw me off like my whole game in the interview, which before that moment I think it was going well. And then the question was very simple too. It was kind of, I think it was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So just go through, like, you can do your research, Googling everything, and just making sure you kind of have a general idea for those kinds of questions when you're looking for like internships or full-time positions in the future.
Yeah, yeah. And nowadays, a lot of these viewers that are listening to this video have so much access to information. So a quick Google search on that company will definitely go a long way, and it will set you aside from, you know, those individuals that you're essentially going to be competing against. So,
yeah, so definitely be
Great
over
feedback.
prepared if you can.
Absolutely. What do you look for if you were in a position to hire someone?
I think I look for, like, maybe it's kind of cliche, but somebody who has grit, you know, somebody who I can see, like, they don't have to be the smartest person in the room or the one with the like best resume, but I have to see, you know, that they're dedicated to the position and also that they're willing to work hard. Someone who just really loves to like this position that I'm hiring for, somebody who's like dedicated, and I can see them like persevering through hardship, I guess.
Absolutely, that's good. What is your top tip for successful job interviewing? What's the biggest mistake in interviewing that you've had? And I think you kind of touched a little bit on that already, but if you want to share anything else.
Yeah, again, like being over prepared. You know, when I was interviewing before, also knowing your like company that you're interviewing for. Like, you know, say you're going into a clothing store to like interview for them, or a company that sells clothes. You'd want to know a little bit more about the product that they sell. You want to go to the company's website and look up their mission statement. Usually most companies have some sort of mission statement. But also, like, if you want it to be a success, you want to make sure that the company is the right fit for yourself too, if their like values are in line with your own values. Because even, you could change yourself so that you fit that company, but it might not make you the happiest in the end.
Absolutely. And I really like that point, because a lot of the times people think that interviewing is, the client getting to know you, or the company getting to know you, but I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to get to know the company. So it's always great to have questions prepared about things that you look for in an employer. So make sure that there's, whether it be a good work-life balance, knowing what your position is going to be. Those things go a long way, because we all, everyone wants to be happy in their position, and it's always a great way for you to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So.
Yes, and when you're first starting out, you probably won't know what will make you happiest. So it's always good to try a wide range of jobs if you have the opportunity to do so.
Agree. Okay. Is there anything unique to consider if students want to enter into your career field?
Yes. Israel touched on exams and certifications that he had to complete for his position. And so as an actuary, we have a similar exam process. The exam process is pretty lengthy. I think on average, our actuarial society tells us that it takes on average like 7 years to complete all these exams. I think it took me longer, but I definitely took some like year off breaks in between. I guess what I'm saying is, specifically for the actuarial career, you'll want to definitely take a couple exams before you commit to a job or anything, just to see how the exam process is for actuaries, and to see if you want to commit to this for the next couple years of your life. Some people get through them really fast, like crazy, like 3 years, I've heard. But I think on average, it's like 7 to 8 years for most people. So I just want to highlight that in our career.
Yeah, it's always good for the viewers that listen to this video to do research, on those careers, to make sure that you know what you're in for, as far as taking certain exams, like may be an actuary, because some positions do require you to have all these things before you get into an official position. So yeah, good. And the last one is, when and how did you come into agreement about how much to accept in wages or salary?
Oh, I guess this is like maybe the number one advice that I give to anyone I talk to about this, such as like younger family members, or like students that I might talk to at a career fairs or whatever. But if you're negotiating like the full-time like entry-level position hire, always ask for more. Like, no matter where you're at, the first like salary that they give you, like, I think usually there's wiggle room from the company. So always ask for more. Don't ask for something ridiculous like double, but ask for something that's reasonably more, because the worst that they can say is no, and then you can just go back to the initial offer, right? So I would always say definitely ask for more. And I think in everyone that I've given that advice to, and that they have asked for more, they've always gotten it. So
yeah, great. Yeah, and that's definitely going to come in handy as you guys progress through your careers. Word of advice on that for me would probably to make sure that you have a good track record of all the things that you're doing. I think my advice is really good for when you're starting out, and then as you progress through your positions and you want to get promotions, you'll have those conversations probably with your managers. So take a good diary of what you've been doing and how to accomplish, because that will definitely be able to back up what you want to request as far as an increase. So yeah, I think that was pretty much all the questions for the career education prompts. So best of luck to all of you. And if there's anything that we can do, feel free to reach out to either one of us. Yeah, you're in good hands with Jay.
yes, thank you guys.